I don't know if any of you know who this guy is. This book is got to be 20 years old. 21 years old, maybe 20, 21 years old. This is Jordan Rubin. He is the first entrepreneur I really ever met and had the chance to spend some time with. I met him in 1999 out of his home. He was doing a couple $1 million in sales out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, which is literally 5 miles that way as the crow flies. He had 9 employees. He had his R&D was in the kitchen. His fulfillment was in garage. His wife was the bookkeeper. She was in a small room. I think their bedroom was set up for sales and had phones, and there's 3 people working in their bedroom sitting on the bed on phones. It was an amazing startup, and Jordan had just launched this book. Jordan had a disease in the mid-90s that actually made him drop out of college, and it was a debilitating disease. You can see it here on the left. At age 18, dropped out of college, moved to California to try to figure out how to fix this disease. Doctors couldn't do anything with him. Had a lot to do with Crohn's disease, what we now know as Crohn's. It was very early back then. We didn't know it was Crohn's, but it had all these immunity issues. And so you can see he's rail thin here in this picture. He actually worked with some folks out in California that introduced him to some substances and some techniques, which he later put in this book, Patient Heal Thyself, and then launched the company out of. So he launched this company in 98, 99, somewhere in there. I met him really early. He was already doing $2 million. He was selling this little black powder in the baggies out of his home direct. He had put he'd been written up in a doctor's newsletter. And out of that newsletter, he was getting people calling for this little black powder. He was selling it in baggies out and doing direct mail, and FedEx would show up and they're shipping stuff every day. It was incredible. So what made Jordan so special? 3 things come to mind for me in terms of what made Jordan special. He was inspiring. This story that he put in this book, Patient Heal Thyself, he told it over and over and over again to anybody who would listen. He was deeply impacted by this story, and he learned and honed that story down to an essence to where he could give the story to anybody. If he was sitting beside you on a plane, or if he was sitting in front of 500 people in a conference room in New York, which I was there with him for that, with the Vitamin Shop. He could tell this story and get people in a way that was so inspiring. He had a singular focus on getting people well and helping people get well through what got him well. And so number 1 was inspiring. Number 2, he was really courageous. He launched and poured everything he had into this company, every last cent he had. He invented a whole category of product called probiotics. I didn't know what a probiotic was back then, but this little black baggie was actually filled with a shelf-stable probiotic. And he's credited actually with really driving the growth of probiotics through his courage and through telling his story and really putting it out there with people. And he was courageous in a lot of other ways, which we'll talk about. But number 1, inspiring. Number 2, courageous. And number 3, he was really smart. So one of the reasons he was smart was he understood what he was good at and what he wasn't so good at. And so 3 years later, after I helped him in 1999 with a friend and I helped him build a 3-year business plan, he called me up in, I think it was March of 2003. And he said, we hit the plan, Robert. Now what do we do? And the plan back then was to grow to $15 million in sales in 3 years. And he nailed it. He hit 15 million from 1999 to 2003. He hired me in 2003. This is me in the middle, baby face. I think I was probably 34. I think he was probably 26 or 27. There's Jordan. There's me. And this was our executive team. I came on in 2003. There was 50 employees. I was the 50th employee hired. And we created another 3-year plan. And that three-year plan helped us launch up to 60 million.